You're recording.
Thank you. That was great. Once upon a time, there was a man called Tony. He was a very nice man, and he was servant to a horrible, rich lord called Lord Vernon, who got messages on his phone from time to time and never, ever answered them, even if they were from his wife, Lady Vincent. But anyway, Lord Vernon one day said to Tony, I don't like you anymore, so go away. Well, Lord Tony, no, not Lord Tony, but Tony was a very nice man, but even he knew that after 3 years of work, he deserved some payment. Well, what do I get in return? He said. I mean, shouldn't you be paying me or something for all this work? Oh, very well, you bloodsucker, said the Lord, and he gave poor Tony 3 bits of fluff. 1, 2, 3. And that was all. Well, to Tony, this was a fortune, and so off he went into the forest, jumping and skipping and hopping and hopping and skipping and jumping, and on he went until he came to a clearing. And in the clearing, Tony saw a small man, a very small man, no higher than the knee of a small child. And how are you doing, little fellow? Said Tony, happily.
I'm doing all right. What about you?
Said the little man. As Tony got closer, he could see that there was a flashing light around the man's head, and he could see that he was actually an elf, not a man at all. But Tony didn't know much about elves. They didn't have elves in the palace. Oh, well, I'm all right, said Tony. I just got 3 years' wages in my pocket.
Cool, said the elf. And how much is that?
Well, said Tony, it's only only 3 bits of fluff, actually.
Wow, said the elf. Oh, what I couldn't do with 3 bits of fluff. I could make a little woolly hat and a little woolly sweater and some woolly trousers and what I couldn't do with that.
And because Tony was such a kind man, he gave the elf all his fluff from his pocket.
Aha, said the elf. I see that you're a kind man, aren't you? Well, in that case, I'll give you 3 wishes for anything that you want.
Aha, said Tony. I see that you're a kind little elf who knows that I'm a kind man. All right, 3 wishes. Oh dear. Right. Oh, don't rush me. This is exciting. Right, wish number 1. I wish for a bow and arrow that will hit anything I aim at. And no, this is so exciting. Wish number 2. I wish for a mandolin, a gold mandolin that will play any tune I ask it to, and when it plays the tunes, everybody will stand up and dance and jump about happily. And well, I don't really want anything else. Oh, yeah. Wish number 3. I wish that if anyone I ask a favour of says they can't do it, that they have to. In other words, if I ask a favour of you, little elf, you have to do it.
Okay,
said the elf.
so it shall be.
And then he disappeared in a big cloud of smoke. And when the smoke had cleared, Tony found himself holding a gold mandolin, a bow and arrow, and a piece of paper that said, "Do whatever Tony says, or the elves will get ya." Well, Tony was delighted. He put the mandolin on his back. It came with its own bag. And he strung the bow and arrow around his front, and he put the piece of paper in his pocket, and off he went through the woods. Steppity, 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 step, hoppity, somersault, skip and jump. And then, he hadn't gone very far when he heard a little bird singing at the top of a tree. It was just standing on a branch, a bit like Desmond is over there, and it was singing beautifully. Beautifully, beautifully. Wow, Tony had never heard such a beautiful song in all his life. And he was just about to get a bit closer when he smelled a horrible smell. You know that smell when you worn your football socks for about 6 months, then you sick in them, and then you put them on again, and then you go out and play football for a year, and then you walk through a cow dung heap, and then you take your socks off, you sick in them again, and then you put them back on and play football for another 3 years. Well, this smell was even worse. Unfortunately, Tony had never seen a witch before, because he was born in the King's Palace, and witches never came near the King's Palace. So he was walking along and when he bumped into what he thought was a nice old lady. "Sorry, nice old lady," said Tony, but then he had a closer look, and he wondered, why would a nice old lady have horrible, wiry white hair, nasty big blocks of wood where her teeth should be, fingernails as long as an elephant's toe, and laugh a horrible witchy laugh? Well, the witch wasn't bothered about Tony. She was more interested in that bird up on the branch that was singing so gorgeously. So gorgeously! That was horrible. Anyway, she saw Tony's bow and arrow and said, "Right, I'll tell you what you can do, young man. I'll forget about you bumping into me as long as you shoot that horrid bird down from that branch. Oh, I hate music." Well, Tony had to think fast. I mean, his bow and arrow would hit anything he aimed at. Then he knew what to do. He fitted an arrow to his bow, he aimed, and ding! Hit the branch between the bird's feet. So the bird fell out of the tree completely unharmed. Well, the witch dived to grab the bird. Unfortunately, she didn't see the thorn bush behind her and fell straight into it. Ow! Ooh, ow, ooh, ow, ooh. Prick, prick, prick. Pinch, pinch, batter, batter. Well, Tony saw his chance. I don't know who Stan is. I don't know why he keeps coming into this story. I'll have to drown him miserably later. Anyway, Tony saw his chance and shouted at his phone, which went off in his other pocket, and decided to ignore it. Anyway, he saw his chance and he whipped out his beautiful golden mandolin. No sooner had he played the first note than the witch started to dance and to skip and to jump. Unfortunately, she was still in the thorn bush, and this made her even crosser. Ow! Oh, ow! She screamed and shouted and roared. It sounded like 16 rhinoceroses were all having their bottoms burnt by hot irons. And that gave the bird plenty of time to fly off to another tree and sing a song that was even prettier. Even prettier. But then Stan's phone went off and Tony punched him. Well, anyway, Tony had seen that the witch was in the thorn bush and he tried to run as fast as he could. But unfortunately, with the bow and arrow and the mandolin on his back, he couldn't run very fast at all. And so the witch caught him and dragged him off before the judge. "Right," said the judge, "I'm going to put you in jail until I find out exactly what's happened." And so the judge put Tony in jail, and then he brought the witch before the court. "Now then," he said, "you've got to tell me exactly what happened so that I can sort this man out." Well, the witch put on a nice old lady voice and a nice old lady face and said, "Well, it was like this, Your Honour. I was walking in the forest and I heard this little bird singing a song, and this young man came along and, he knocked me into a thorn bush, the little boy, and,
I don't know what to do.
Well, I know what to do, said the judge. We can't have this sort of thing happening all the time. And of course it would be a young person, wouldn't it? There's no need for a trial. We'll hang him straight away after lunch. Well, Tony was brought onto the gallows. The rope was fixed round his neck, and the judge said, "Any last requests?" "Not that I'll grant them." "Well, actually, yes," said Tony. "I've got one. Could I just play one last tune on my beautiful gold mandolin?" "Oh, well," said the judge, "well, I like a bit of music, as it happens. All right, then, go on." And he gave the gold mandolin to Tony. And as soon as the first note had been played, then all the people watching the hanging started to dance. Even the judge got up and he started moving to the left and moving to the right, and he didn't know quite what had come over. Even the executioner released the rope from round Tony's neck and started to do a little jig all around the gallows. Well, of course, that was just the chance Tony needed, and off he went, just like that. As soon as the notes from the mandolin faded away, the judge turned on the witch, who was screaming with rage. "Stop! Stop! You're supposed to get him! You're supposed to hang him! After all, I wanted that bird at the top of the tree! Oh dear." "Well, well, well," said the judge. "I see what's happened here. You're not a nice old lady. You're a nasty old witch. Right, executioner, hang her as quick as you can." And so, that's what happened. Tony went off into the forest and got a much better job in another palace 15 miles away as the palace musician. People came from far and wide to hear him play his beautiful mandolin and dance and sing, and he hung his bow and arrow up in his hall. And if anybody made him cross, well, he'd just get out a piece of paper that said, "Do as Tony says or the elves will get you." In fact, somebody wanted the golden mandolin from Tony at one point, but he got out that piece of paper and showed it to them. And, well, they ran away and hid themselves far away. As for the witch, well, I don't know what happened to her, but who cares? I don't.